facility choosing the words.
Okay, thanks a lot. Before we go to the questions, I want to make a small announcement. The Danish Cuban Association is also organizing 3 more activities here at the Climate Forum, 3 more conferences about more or less the same subjects. And tomorrow we have a conference. You can check out the program of the Climate Forum. But tomorrow we have a conference about the organic urban gardening system of Cuba. On Sunday we have a conference about the energy revolution. And on Monday we have a conference in the Orange Hall with a full translation about the ELBA cooperation between 9 different Latin American countries, who are Cuba, Venezuela, Bolivia, Nicaragua, Ecuador, and some small island states. And also, I want to announce that on the 17th of December, which is Thursday next week, we and more than 20 other organizations are behind the huge, popular meeting in Bethlehem, quite close to here. Actually, if you take a bus or a train or a bicycle, even a Chinese one, without brakes, yeah? Where we have invited the 9 presidents of the ELBA countries to tell us about their alternative way of development. So please check that out, and also if you're interested in acquiring the Christmas gift of the year, the movie, you can come up here afterwards and you can buy it for only 80 Danish crowns. Or you can visit our website, which is www.cubavenner, which is Cuba Friends in Danish, .dk. I want to introduce the panel here. I introduced Roberto before from the Cuban Environmental NGO. This is Luis Plácido Ortega Izquierdo, who is president of the Havana Province section of the Agricultural and Forestal Technicians Union Association. Sorry. And Esther Fabiola Bueno Sanchez, who is a investigator and scientist and educator of geography and environmental issues. And Luis Perez, who is president of Cuba Solar, which is the Cuban Institute for Sustainable Energy. So, without further ado, any questions? Or do you know everything by now? Yeah, there. I think someone has a microphone. There.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. First question is, I just want to know what's happening now in Cuba. I heard that it's becoming more oil dependent with Venezuela exporting oil, and I just wanted to have some kind of update from the film. And secondly, I also wonder how much what happened in Cuba could be applied to in other countries. So, for example, in London, in England, where you have, I think it's like 12 million people living in the city, and could you do something like what you did in Havana? How much is it just in Cuba, because it's a relatively small population and you have a strong centrally planned state? Yeah, that's it, thanks.
Okay, there are 2 questions, no? Like, basically the documentary tells the story about the worst of what we call the extinction period, of all the problems that we have to have. Even it's true that we have favorable agreements with Venezuela, no? But the truth is that we are using a lot less oil than in 1989, the famous 14 million tons of fuel oil. That's the fact, no? Like what is happening now, because even when we can get an agreement for cheap oil, we are not rich, we cannot buy all of that much petrol. And the agreements are based on what we can also provide to Venezuela and to other countries. It's not that they're just giving us the oil free as much as we can. And around that, what can be applied? I think that many people used to think that, okay, Cuba is very particular, you know, the revolution and all the situation, no? And of course, we have many things that make us Cubans, no? But I think that it's not only that, it's about the necessity of pass from individual values to collective values to community values. It's the idea of sharing, the idea of like the common good is on top of the individual good. And all of these things, I know that they are very hard to find, to recover, especially when you have been told and advertised and, you know, buy, or you, and all of those things. I should say that in the case of Cuba, we are coming from like very peculiar and deeply community-based societies. The West Africans, the Cantonese, even the Spanish, all of this in Cuba, there was like a melting pot in a good sense. And then we sing and we dance, but we talk to each other, and we have all of these things. All of this was even reinforced for the period of the revolution. But I can tell you, for example, that there were very beautiful stories in London and in UK during the World War II, the famous Dig for Victory Gardens. There are a lot of nice things happening in the allotments all over the UK. There are quite a few initiatives. They are different from Cuba, but basically what we are trying to rebuild is the community sense and the idea that we need a critical mass of people in order to change the actual affairs things. All of those things can be applied. If you plant a tree in your garden, maybe your neighbor who doesn't know you, he's like sneaking out behind the fence and, oh, this guy is crazy. Should I call the police? Or maybe your neighbor will approach to you and say, hey man, what are you doing? No, I'm planting a tree, I want to eat apples. This will create some connections that unfortunately in many Western societies are lost. And the idea is to try to reconnect with that and not thinking that money or stockpiling or being in a computer will fix the problem. There are many initiatives. You know, Transition Town movement started in Totnes in England. And of course, what we are showing here is the lesson of how bad it can go if something happens. And we are not talking that peak oil not necessarily means that the oil is gone, because I think that climate change will come long before and we will see that. I think that this peak energy will happen when we really decide to make common sense and we quit to this vice of use cheap energy and to exploit other people. So there are many initiatives. And these initiatives have to have from the bottom and from people right now, people that they are aware of the social movements and they want the social change, they want something. But people that they are defending the nature, they want something. People that want to eat healthy food and with not with animals that are treated like a factory asset, they want a change. People that they want health also, free health care or free education, they want something. It's time to come up together for us, but also for the planet. And this can happen in Cuba, this can happen in UK, this can happen in Greenland, everywhere. And so there are many initiatives that can be done right here and right now. We were surprised by that. It was very bad what happens. There were terrible years for Cubans. Some people left the country, but most Cubans stayed there, and in the beginning we were just thinking, we need to resist, we need to resist. Nothing like that, but resisting, we took the right steps. And right now, when you compare the ecological footprint with the Human Development Index, and the only ones that are in that square, that is so-called sustainable development, is Cuba. And that is